At Oakbridge Elementary, Kian Adebayo sat quietly at the back of the classroom, doodling stars in the margin of his notebook, while the teacher praised Mason for another great answer. Mason was tall, fast, and funny. He sang solos in music class, told jokes that made the teachers laugh, and always seemed to win everything. Kian clapped, but inside, something tightened. He didn't hate Mason. Not really. But every compliment Mason got felt like a brick in Kian's chest, stacking higher until it got hard to breathe. At home, Kian played with his little sister Amara, built Lego cities with secret tunnels, and read books about inventors. But none of that got applause like Mason's. One morning, Ms. Rivera announced a team project. Create a presentation about the solar system using art, music, or storytelling. The class buzzed with excitement. Kian was paired with Mason, along with 2 other classmates. His heart sank. Mason instantly took the lead, sketching a rocket and assigning roles. Kian offered a quiet idea. Maybe they could make a shadow puppet show with planets. But Mason barely heard him. He kept talking, louder and faster. That night, Kian sat at his desk with a flashlight and paper cutouts, practicing his puppet idea anyway. The glow made Saturn's rings shimmer on the wall. The next day, Mason showed up late and distracted. He'd lost part of his drawings and forgot who was doing what. Kian noticed, but said nothing. Miss Rivera checked in. "How's the project going, team?" she asked. Mason stammered. The others shrugged. Kian hesitated, then stood up. "I have an idea," he said. Hands shaking, he pulled out his cutouts. "We can still do this. Just follow me." They turned off the lights. Kian held up a glowing sun, casting it across the classroom wall. The room fell silent. Then, slowly, planets orbited in shadow. He narrated softly, his voice growing stronger. Mason took a cue and joined in. Others helped with effects. Suddenly, the project had life and light. Miss Rivera clapped when it ended. "That was brilliant," she said. Mason smiled at Kian and whispered, "That was all you." "Seriously," Kian blinked. The heavy feeling inside cracked open like a shell. Mason wasn't a rival. He was just someone who shined in his way. And now, Kian had found his own light. Quieter, maybe, but just as warm. The next week, Mason struggled with a writing assignment. Kian slid him a comic he'd drawn about astronauts. "You can borrow this for ideas," he offered. Mason grinned. "Thanks, man. You're way more creative than I thought." Kian didn't need to win or be loud. He needed to create, to share, and to feel seen for the boy he really was. That weekend, he built a cardboard planetarium in his garage. Amara squealed with wonder as stars danced above them. He didn't need a stage. He had space to grow right where he stood. At school, he volunteered ideas more often. Sometimes they were used, sometimes not. But he didn't shrink anymore. One afternoon, Ms. Rivera caught him after class. "Kian, your voice is quiet, but your ideas echo," she said. He smiled all the way home. Mason and Kian still joked, but now as teammates. And when Mason shone, Kian clapped the loudest, because joy grows bigger when you share it.